Namo Tassa. Just a short video to make a little intro about myself and what I am about, because last year on my birthday I made a quite longer one that tells more in details about my story, my life, and why I am where I am at, especially around Buddhism and Dhamma. And this one should be just a simpler intro. So many people ask about why, as a foreigner, that seems a bit surprising to Asian Buddhists, that I am so much about Dhamma. But over time, in hindsight, things become very clear, as everything works also with karma. So I was born on the full moon night of Dhammachakka, the turning of the wheel of Dhamma, Asarha Bucha in Thai, Waso in Burmese. So there it is. There was a reason why I was born on that special full moon night of the starting of the teaching of Dhamma. And yeah, I had the paramis, so, and that's why early on I was not fitting in my culture, in my family, everything. Born in France and raised in that regular family, at least not too religious as far as Christianity goes, but I was not fitting in anyway, and there was already some awareness that made me wonder why about this whole life and this whole context of life in this society, mad society, and so many mad people around with authority telling you to follow them or obey. And so I was not fitting in the school system either that way, and I was basically aware that that notion of culture is only brainwashing to make you a good, obedient citizen, but it's not the real life. And of course I would consider going to school like a jail for children already anyway. So, and then that's why early on, as I was meant to, I discovered the Dhamma from the angle of martial arts, which was also good to learn already some mind discipline and self-control and some awareness. So then I opened classically a book to understand what this Buddhism thing was about, and it triggered the seeds of Dhamma that I had in me, the very strong seed, as we say that when you have built enough paramis in your previous life, then you are meant to be a strong Dhamma person. So as soon as I read about the basic of Buddha Dhamma, that resonated as ultimate truth at once about life existence, that was something that made sense and was clear for me compared to that real life basically that I was living in, that was so much nonsense to me. So from that I decided to meditate on my own and just do the basics, and it was quite easy at the time to empty the mind in that sense, and I got a lot of benefits already, and again very increased awareness, a lot of awareness, which after I called very logically that I became too aware too young for my society, my culture, like my family, my in that country, and for the world in general. I basically could see through too much already then, which is not so accepted by the system, of course, because the system wants the opposite, and it's working now. Anyway, but then as much as I was meditating on my own and I got a lot of benefits, life went on, and I was still very young, so some things were confusing. I didn't have much experience. but I was not fitting in either. So I had an interesting life, and I did different things and traveled around, worked in different countries, which is good to again open the mind, see different cultures, and ultimately, as much as somebody had mentioned Vipassana to me in that center not far, it didn't click at once, which is interesting, and it took me actually, unfortunately, I would say 10 years before I took my first Vipassana course in the Goenka tradition. I could say that I wished that I had done it at once. This person mentioned it to me, but again, there was probably a reason for that not to happen anyway. But of course, from my first retreat, then again, everything clicked in. I felt like, and I remembered so well what I felt and experienced as a teenager when I was practicing on my own, and realized that I had already touched some higher level of concentration and what people consider supernatural powers, but I was fascinated by things that seemed unreachable or a theory. And then from my first Vipassana retreat, I got very, very good results, as it was meant to, because of the parami. And basically, I would say it's kind of the last pieces of the puzzles got put together to make me understand a lot. And from that moment, I knew that the rest of my life would be dedicated to Dhamma, of course, which made sense. And Dhamma rewarded me, of course, as karma works. So then, since then, my life has been mostly focused on Dhamma, sharing the Dhamma. So from that, I've had some ideas, of course, and intentions, but again, there's probably a reason why some things don't work out. For example, I was based in Canada, and I was really hoping that I could create something there, but it didn't work out, maybe for some reason, because I see how the society evolves and how this country has evolved, that it's definitely not a good support for Dhamma. They are full on the opposite agenda as the world agenda goes, totally opposite of Dhamma, being very linked to the American agenda. So then I went to Asia, and the Buddhist cultures, I felt very welcome at some point by some, especially the highest people, of course, because that's the point. Unfortunately, to realize that still in so-called Buddhist cultures, most of the people live in blind faith, and just because that's the so-called religion of the country, but they are not really serious about Dhamma, they don't really understand it properly, but they think they know, of course, exactly because they're just basic humans, regular humans with a lot of ego, a lot of pride, a lot of conceit, all the big fetters. And so that's just a reality. But still the context is better, and of course more opportunity to meet some really advanced, serious people, even Westerners, of course, who have reached higher level and stay in Asia. So for those reasons. So from that, my life is, of course, mainly dedicated to Dhamma, and as a true Buddhist in that sense, I only live by donations now. So it's okay, whatever the future holds, it's fine. I have a few ideas, mainly two ways that it can go, and we will see what happens, what karma has in store that way. But to say that if possible, maybe, and if it appeals to some people, or they can relate to what I'm saying, then I would be happy, of course, to have a real, serious, pure Vipassana, pure Dhamma center for very, very serious meditators. So I mean to relate a lot to Ubakin, who died some time before I was born. And when I heard about him through Goenka stories, basically, and then I started to look at things and research, and some pictures were very, very meaningful to me. So I relate a lot to his way. So he created his own meditation center, especially as a small scale thing, but only for very, very serious, dedicated people. The people he could see had a higher potential. So I relate more to that than the other way, like Goenka way, where it's all about reaching as many people as possible and all kinds of people, and then hopefully, at least in that group, as it happened to me, some will have a strong appeal, and Dhamma will stay strong for them. But yeah, ideally, if there is an opportunity, I would like to create a pure Dhamma, very, very serious Dutinga, Vipassana Dhamma center, very, very clear like that, for very serious people. People who know or feel that they have it in them, basically. And whatever happens, we will see. And so if some people relate to that, can connect with me. I guess there are different links that they can find to get in touch with me online, social media, and otherwise, I will adapt to whatever comes, of course, as it is, and what Karma has in store. And it can be also a very different option that's coming, just to ultimately get to the final goal, one way or the other. That's pretty much where I am at now.